Transparent of industries that thrive off of secrecy. Our disclaimer here today is we're not here to cause alarm, harassment or distress or any form of intimidation. We're here today to bring light to what happens to the animals behind these doors here at this slaughterhouse. As you're coming into this chat, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan already, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, be open-minded to these conversations, and 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Huge trucks in here already. Get that camera up over the side, show everyone what's happening inside of a slaughterhouse. Look at this, guys. These trucks here brought animals in here today to die. 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to these conversations. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Our second disclaimer here today is we're not here to judge any non-vegans. We're not here to point fingers. We're not here to clash with non-vegans. We're here to come alongside you, turn your head against the industry that have lied to you. Them trucks that you're witnessing, they're in there live in a slaughterhouse in the UK. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to these conversations, and 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Let us know where you're from. Please make sure you double tap the stream. The likes, shares and subscribes and bell notifications mean that the stream is nice and strong, so when trucks of animals turn up, that you're able to see them. Remember, our objective today is to do nothing more than show the truth and the reality to the general public. You're never told the truth, you're told lies. These industries aren't just not transparent, they're liars to the consumer, because the industry is behind me right now. By the way, it's a slaughterhouse. It's nothing more than a business. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, be open-minded to these conversations, and 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Truck.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Hey, baby. We're here. I know. We're not like the people inside these buildings. I'm sorry what my species has done to you. It's disgusting what's happening to you right now.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could save you. I wish I could come in there and take you out there myself. I'll never stop fighting for you. I'll never forget you. I won't let the world ever forget what's happened to you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Evil. Cries of mercy. Cries of mercy from individuals who are about to be executed for optional products. 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, be open-minded to these conversations. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? What? How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night doing this to these baby animals, these dear animals? What have they done to you? How do you live with yourself working in a place that executes innocent animals for optional products? Do you look them in the eye on the kill floor? Do you go on the kill floor and watch them die? Do you watch them separated from their friends and family? Disgusting. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, be open-minded to these conversations, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals, 1, 2 or 3, double tap the stream, like, share and subscribe.
What's happening?
We're outside of a slaughterhouse here in the UK right now. That big blue truck has got around 50 to 60 cows in it. Most probably from the dairy industry. They look like they had brown and white noses from what I can see from the slats.
I saw black and white cows.
Yeah, the dairy industry is a standalone industry. Anyone who's vegetarian for ethical reasons, let me give you the harsh reality and the harsh truth that dairy cows are executed for cheese, yogurts, milk, and that little bit of splash in your coffee costs them their life. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, be open-minded to these conversations, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. We're outside of a slaughterhouse to bring the transparency to the consumer that the industry never ever does. The industry doesn't only just hide the transparency, it replaces transparency with absolute lies. It tells you that this is humane, it tells you that this is ethical, it tells you that there is a nice way, apparently, to execute mothers from the dairy industry, take away their babies and send them off to slaughterhouses. 1 in the chat if you're vegan and you're no longer responsible for personally being violent towards animals. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, be open-minded as to why we're live streaming outside of a slaughterhouse right now. 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream so we get over 100 likes before the next truck turns up.
Here goes security.
Security are out here now. This gate has now been put onto automatic, from automatic to manual. These guys are now having to run this gate forwards and backwards themselves. Ask yourself why. Like I just spoke about, the transparency from the industry. Now, where is the transparency? They don't even want the consumers, they don't want the public to see the animals as they're coming in. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan. Be open-minded to these conversations, and three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Spam 1, 2 or 3. Double tap the stream, like, share and subscribe. Ask yourself, for an industry that thrives on transparency, why is there so much secrecy? Why do these guys push and pull the gate shut? Because they can get it open and closed faster so the consumers can't see the animals. Now, if you can hear what I can hear right now, they are bellowing for mercy inside of a slaughterhouse where they're going to be executed for a stupid block of cheese, for a stupid chocolate bar, for a yogurt. So you can sit at home in the sunshine, in the paddling pool with your friends and play happy families eating ice creams that was stolen from an individual who had her baby stolen from her, who ended up inside of a slaughterhouse screaming for her life.
Yeah.
That ice cream that you associate with such happiness and joy and family time is literally a product that destroys families, kills babies and executes mothers. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations and you're wondering why these vegans are live streaming outside of a slaughterhouse right now. Three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream, like, share and subscribe. We're here today.
They're crying, they're literally crying on this truck.
They're crying and bellowing out on that blue truck for mercy. Now, the only mercy that any animals are ever going to receive is when people, number twos in the chat, kind, compassionate people who aren't vegan yet, wake up to the message and then go vegan. It's the only way it stops. The harsh reality for us here as animal rights activists are the cows on them trucks right now, the cows in the layerage right now, I couldn't save. We couldn't stop them. Mel and I were stood here and they drove past us. They looked at us, I could hear them crying out to us, and I could do nothing more but look at the screen and say, guys, please don't be personally responsible for the next set of eyes to come past me at these gates. One in the chat if you're vegan and you've already removed your personal accountability for this violence. Two in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded while we're here today. Three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream. Please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notifications. We go to slaughterhouses every single week to bring the consumer the reality and the truth that the industries don't. You're going to see something here today. You're going to see factory farm trucks like these big trucks that have just turned up here. But guess what else you're going to see? Small holding trucks. So your small, local, organic, free range, quote unquote, high welfare farms, they're going to be coming here today too. And guess what? All of that fucking melts away when they're stabbed to death with the same knife by the same person. The same slaughterhouse, the same slaughterman, the same knife, the same gas, the same electric prongs. It makes no difference to the individual. They all come to the same slaughterhouse to die for an optional product that you do not need. Now, when you can choose kindness and compassion, why the hell are you still choosing to put animals inside slaughterhouses? That's the question we're asking you here today.
For anyone who's just joined, Steve, what's happening here? What's just gone on?
In that blue truck, there are cows bellowing out for mercy, crying out for help. This was their last journey. One of the things that always stands out to me the night before we come to do a live stream, I lay there in bed and I watch the clock go round because I think somewhere in this UK system, farming, evil, torturous system, there's an individual who has laid down for the last time. There's an individual who's closed their eyes for the last time. I keep thinking to myself, for the last time they may have huddled up with their friends for safety. There's the bellows of cries. There's the bellows of cries for mercy. Every time before I come to this place, I think, are they huddled up for safety now in a barn somewhere? Are they cuddled up trying to make themselves sure they're warm, make sure they feel safe? Because tonight is the last night they close their eyes and rest. Tonight is the last night they go to sleep. Because guess what happened today? They woke up, they got put on this truck, and they get brought here today to be stabbed and executed.
Someone's just said, who's in that truck?
Cows are in that truck. Now my guess is dairy cows. I can see their noses, their black and white noses were on the side. This is a slaughterhouse.
Give me the thing, I'll see if I can get
This is a slaughterhouse. Dairy cows are slaughtered for their milk. Beef cows are slaughtered for their bodies. Two different breeds of cows. Egg-laying hens are gassed to death because of their eggs, and broiler chickens are gassed to death because of their bodies. All these different industries that the industries will never tell you. This is why we force the transparency.
Let me just go to the shade quick. You got some powerful footage here of the poor animals.
What can you see?
Dairy cows in there.
What can you see? Let me hold the Osmo that you can position.
Oh my gosh, look at her. You got her eyes. Look at the fear in her eyes.
One in the chat
my
if you're vegan,
gosh.
two in the chat if you're not vegan. but you're open-minded to these conversations, and 3, if you don't care about animals. These animals will be killed today. They're going to be killed, executed for an optional product you do not need.
This is the dairy industry. All these cows are at a slaughterhouse right now.
We're here today to bring the consumer the reality and the truth. People go to the supermarket and they see packets on the shelves. They don't see the individuals that screamed and suffered on this slaughterhouse floor, begging for the mercy, begging for their lives. As a knife cuts their throats, they see the rest of their family and their children potentially dying in front of them. Absolutely horrific. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, be open-minded to these conversations, and 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. Them animals have come past us right now, here today, and they're in our blue truck as we speak.
What are they doing on the roof? How do you sleep at night?
Let's swap in.
See
I'm gonna hand you over to Mel.
over there. Guys, so those cows you just saw are inside this blue truck right there. How do you sleep at night? This is a slaughterhouse. How could you? There are mothers on that truck, grieving mothers from the dairy industry. It's not a what? Leave this evil place. Anyone, slaughterhouse workers, contractors, you should never work in these places. We must collapse them. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and subscribe. This is a slaughterhouse right here behind me. Here, there are cows crying for their life inside this building, crying with every bit of strength that they have. They will try to escape this evil place, but they can't. This place literally is designed to keep them in. Even if they escaped, there's a cattle grid that would break their legs if they try and get out. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, please subscribe. How dare people do this? Leave! Watch Dominion on YouTube and see the reality. See the reality of what happens to these dear animals in the link in our description. Go and watch Dominion on YouTube. See inside this place. The dairy industry is what turned me vegan. I was an animal lover all my life. From a child, my dog was my best friend, but I had no idea the exploitation behind the choices I made every day. You think it's funny? Take the mic, do you? You think your big man think it's funny? Taking the mic. There's literal mothers being killed in there. Shame on you. Shame on you. Taking the mic. This is what they do. They mock the animals in these evil places. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Please subscribe. Keep liking, comment, share. Ask questions in the live. We've got amazing activists in the room who will be helping to answer questions. Behind me in this blue truck, there are cows from the dairy industry. You may think that cow's milk is just an innocent product, but it's not. It comes with the worst exploitation imaginable. You can't actually imagine it. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, please subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. Every single cow, every single baby that you see in farms ends up in a slaughterhouse. That's the reality. The egg industry, you know what they do in the egg industry? I'll tell you. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and please subscribe. In the egg industry, male chicks, they don't produce eggs. They're classed as a waste product. They put them in a macerator, a blender, alive on day 1. That's where any sort of eggs come from. Free-range organic, it's all the same. They come from a hatchery where they're blended up alive. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, please subscribe. No, we've got security on the left. Security on the left who will be running this gate up and down because they don't want you, the public, to see the faces of the animals. That's why they are on this right now. They don't want you to even see their faces, let alone what happens on the inside. All we hear from the outside is cries and screams from these animals. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and please subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. Behind me, they kill cows from the dairy industry. They kill cows from the beef industry. Every single slaughterhouse kills innocent individuals. The other week we're outside a gas chamber for pigs. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you aren't vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live, please subscribe. By the way, I'm not here hating on you guys in the chat. In fact, thank you so much for being on this live stream with us. We are here purely to defend the animals and show you the truth. That is it. So if you're hating on us, that's a you problem. If you're hating, maybe it's because you're somehow triggered and you don't like what's happening to the animals, then you can change and be vegan.
Terak7609, thank you so much for your kind super thanks, helping us to help the animals. We really, really appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Thank you to everybody in this chat right now supporting us, sending donations and things. It honestly helps so much.
People are saying that I can't go vegan, but vegetarian possibly.
No, absolutely not. You can go vegan. Everyone can go vegan. It's so extreme to not be vegan. A vegan is just a normal person. If you're vegetarian, you pay for this. If you're vegetarian, you pay for cows to be stabbed in the throat from the dairy industry. You pay for forcible impregnation. You pay for male chicks in the egg industry to be blended up alive. You pay for egg-laying hens to go to gas chambers at 18 months old. You may go to zoos or bet on horses. Veganism is a moral stance against the use and exploitation of animals. Sorry, Paul, they're crying behind me and it stops me in my tracks because it breaks my heart. My heart rips into pieces being here, listening to their cries for help. Their
You
cries
can see they
for
don't
help.
want to come off.
No.
The bellows are where they're trying to force them off that truck. They know where they are.
Cows can smell up to 5 miles away. They know that inside there is just death. They know it's evil. What the hell have we done as a species? Don't be the evil in this world, be the light. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Please subscribe. It massively helps us get the algorithm out to more people so they can see the reality of what happens to these dear animals in these evil facilities.
People are saying support your local animal farmers.
No, I don't want to hear anybody say that ever again. When you say support your local animal farmer, what you're saying is support your local murderer. That's what you're saying. You'll see factory farm trucks come in, but you'll also see small holding trucks come in. It's zero difference. In fact, I believe small holding is even worse because it comes with an utter betrayal from the animal farmers who tell you they love the animals, then they send them inside this place and ditch them around strangers and knives. And in fact, I'll tell you more in a minute. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, please subscribe. In fact, the small holding farmers are the worst kind of people. What I see when they come in here, I see them take sticks out of their trucks, prodding the animals as they're going in. I see them laughing, I see them mocking, I see them not caring whatsoever. All they want is their paycheck. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. Behind me, they're killing cows from the dairy industry. They're killing cows from the dairy industry. Literally for breast milk. Grown adults are drinking the breast milk intended for a baby cow and they don't even realise they're not flipping brainwashed. That's ridiculous. It's not your fault that you don't know. It's the industry for lying to you. They are deceitful on purpose. Why do you think places like KFC have got millions and millions of pounds for advertising? In fact, billions of pounds over these industries. Why do you think the RSPCA are in on it? Why do you think the RSPCA assured scheme exists? Because of money. A couple of years ago, they made £4 million purely from assuring farms and gas chambers for animals. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, please subscribe. I've been out slaughterhouses now for over a year. Every single week, I've listened to the cries, myself and Steve both have. Every week. It's horrific. This is the biggest war, the biggest issue. The worst crimes are being committed towards the animals. Vegan first, people next. Vegan first, because vegan is a non-action. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream and please subscribe. It's going to switch in with Steve.
Yeah, well said, absolutely. Guys, I want to just reiterate our disclaimer. We're not here today to clash with non-vegans. Our objective isn't here to stand, our objective isn't to stand here and shout at the phone, shout at the live stream, shout at you and say you're a bad person if you're not vegan, you're a bad person if you pay for this, bad people do this, blah, 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 blah. That's not the objective, because once we would have been that person on the other side of the phone listening to this message. We listened to an amazing activist called Joey Carbstrong. Please go to Joey Carbstrong's YouTube channel, subscribe, and watch his channel as well. We listened to what he was saying, and we hope that you listen to what we're saying too. Our objective is to come alongside you and turn your head against the industry. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're a kind person, 3 in the chat if you don't like animals, if you're anti-vegan, if you believe that animals are here for you to exploit any which way you see fit. But make sure you've double tapped the stream. Please like, share and subscribe and hit the bell notification. Animals will be coming here any minute today, and I want you to see them.
People have just come into the chat asking what's happening. Do you want to explain what's happening, the gate, the security, everything?
Absolutely. We're outside of a UK slaughterhouse right now. This is an ABP slaughterhouse. Behind me is the gate where the animals are driven in. Behind me you can see the trucks that the animals have come in on today. On the blue truck on the right there, just now being offloaded into what's called a layerage, which is a big waiting room for the cows before they go in to be killed. This slaughterhouse here specifically only kills cows. The truck on the left is in the washdown area. These animals come to these places with such fear that they literally wee and poo all over themselves, all over each other, all over the floor. Each time they drop animals off, they have to wash the trucks down and wash all the feces of fear out of them. We are literally here listening to the bellows of cries for mercy from the animals. You can hear them. There's another one right there. We're here today to bring the transparency onto an industry that thrives off of secrecy. The industries are never ever transparent with the consumer. They tell you lies. They don't just not tell you the truth. I'll give you an example. You need to drink cow's milk for calcium. You need to eat eggs for protein. You need to eat animals for protein. These are lies made by the meat, dairy and egg industry. We need to test on animals to make sure it's safe for humans. 96% of animal tests are not transmissible to humans anyway, but we'll still keep doing it. Why? It makes money. But let's lie to the public and say it's for their benefit. Then they'll never question us. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations, 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals. We're outside of a slaughterhouse now bringing you the reality of what happens to dairy cows for a chocolate bar, for a block of cheese, for a yogurt. You don't need to buy. These are optional products. It's an option for you. But for them, the option is taken away. And when we talk about their option, this isn't just their option of what they might like for their dinner. This is their life. This is everything. We take their existence. We control their subjective experience. We give them a number, not a name. We control their environment. We put them in barns and sheds and cages and shackles, and we then send them to slaughterhouses to execute them. What crime have they committed? What have they done wrong? What do they do so bad that their life ends up exactly as I've just described there? 1 in the chat if you're vegan and you already have removed your personal accountability for this violence. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded as to why 2 vegans are stood outside of a slaughterhouse right now trying to tell me the truth. 3 in the chat if you're a lost soul, if you're someone who doesn't care about animals and you're an anti-vegan. Double tap the screen, please subscribe and hit the bell notification.
Someone said, why would I listen to a vegan who's never even stepped foot on a farm?
Yeah, we'll go to our main channel, which is It's Smelling Steve, not It's Smelling Steve Live, and go and look at our playlist of our investigations. We've investigated dairy farms, egg farms, we've investigated all sorts of farms, chicken farms. We've been there and seen it for ourselves. But we're not here talking about farming systems being better for animals. We're here saying that animals should have rights protecting their bodily autonomy and protecting their life.
Look, here's the layerage. Look, you see the cows in here.
You can see the cows right there. You can see them, right? Can you see them? This is where they wait before they go to be executed. This is where they wait before they go to be killed. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do this. Change. How do you feel when you drop them animals off? You don't care. Why? Why do you care? Do you not have any empathy towards it? It's not life. It doesn't need to happen. This isn't a necessity. This isn't a necessity. Do you have zero empathy towards them animals? Do you not care about them one bit? You look after them because you care about them. Why do you bring them here if you care about them? They're not putting them down properly in here. They're executing them. They're shooting them in the face and cutting their throat for an optional product. If you care about them animals, don't bring them here. Any slaughter is bad. Any slaughter is bad. If I give you a resource to stop this, would you take it? Why not? Then you don't care. Then you don't care about the animals. You don't care about them animals.
In there?
If I could give you a resource to stop this, if you cared about them animals, you'd stop. Therefore, it's lip service. You don't care. Because if I gave you a resource to get you out of this, doing this to the animals, you would take it if you cared. The fact that you don't want to take it shows me that you don't care. It's lip service.
Looking after the land.
No, bollocks.
Crap,
Bollocks.
crap.
Load of rubbish. Get a proper job. Stop exploiting animals.
How dare they
Load of
say
nonsense.
things like
Load
that?
of nonsense. Let me explain what's just happened here. This guy, again, farmer lies. Farmer lies.
Yeah.
Farmer lies. Oh, lay of the land, looking after the land. It's a service. It's life. Bullshit. This is what farmers tell the public, and anyone without half a brain cell is indoctrinated and conditioned to not critically think about what they're saying. They see a farmer, oh, the farmer won't lie, he is right. He even said they put them down properly. Let me tell you what's going to happen to these animals after you put one in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to why we're here, three in the chat if you don't care about animals, double tap the stream, like, share and subscribe. Put them down properly, they're going to be forced into a knock box, which is a big metal square. They're going to be shot in the face, they're then going to be hung up by one leg, stabbed in the throat, and have their necks slashed open so their blood pumps out. They're probably, most likely, not factually, most likely from what I've seen, start dismembering them, start de-skinning them before they've even passed away. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to why we're here, three in the chat if you don't care about animals, double tap the stream, like, share and subscribe. Now, I gave that farmer an opportunity for transparency. I asked him, how do you feel? Do you have no empathy? He basically said, I don't care to start with.
Yeah,
and then he said, no, I do care. I look after them. Why would you care about looking after animals that you're going to betray one day and send to a slaughterhouse when you don't need to? When I explained to him this doesn't need to happen, it's not a necessity, they have no comeback. And then guess what I did? I gave the animal farmer who pretended to care about his animals an out.
Yeah.
Always, whenever any activists are at these locations, give these people an out to start with, because you never know, they may surprise you and they may turn around and become vegan and look after animals. I gave him an out. I said, if I could give you a resource to get you out of this, to get you out of doing this to animals, would you take it? He said no. So then everything prior to that about empathy and caring for the animals is bullshit. The only thing he cares about is his bottom line, is his profit margin, and keeping the indoctrination on you, the consumer, so you keep giving him money so he keeps executing animals. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations, three in the chat if you don't care about animals, double tap the stream, like, share and subscribe.
I don't know if you noticed, but he was saying, I don't care to start with. He saw the camera and then his tune
Of course.
changed.
All of a sudden I'm public facing. The
Yeah.
public expect me to say that I care. Bullshit. Animal farmers can't care about animals. They can't. It's impossible.
They're evil.
That's like me saying I love my wife, I punch her in the face.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. This is what we're trying to show you. Look, one interaction with a farmer. Can you see the dishonesty? Can you see the indoctrination? Can you see how corrupt that industry is? Now, the resource that I was going to give him was Viva Refarm. Viva Refarm would go to his farm and they would look at his land, they would look at his opportunities, and they'd diversify him away from exploiting animals. If someone truly cares about animals and doesn't want to keep doing this to them, he would have snapped my arm off at that resource. He would have been like, yes, here's my number, give them my email address, please help me, please get them to come to my farm and stop this. One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan, be open-minded to these conversations, and three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Please double tap the stream, like, share and subscribe. Remember, we're here to bring you the truth. All we're doing is showing transparency of an industry that thrives on secrecy.
What's happening? Who's behind you? What's been going on?
Right, yeah, guys, so behind me is a slaughterhouse. We're live here at an ABP slaughterhouse here in the UK. Behind me is trucks who are dropping off cows into the layerage. There were dairy cows on that truck. We looked at our footage back, black and white dairy cows from the dairy industry. I say dairy industry because dairy cows and beef cows are from two different industries. The beef industry leads on the dairy industry and the dairy industry leads on the beef industry, but they're separate entities. We're here today not to clash with the public. We're here today to bring you alongside us, turn your head, and show you the realities that the industry don't want you to know. They don't want you to know this. If I was you and I was a number two, who's someone who is kind and compassionate, but I'm not vegan yet, I would be thinking, yeah, tell me, I want to know this knowledge. Please explain to me, why are dairy cows different to beef cows? Why are egg-laying hens different to chickens that we eat? Why is the wool industry bad? Why is the leather industry a co-product, not a byproduct? What is all this information you're throwing at me? Now, if you can't stay here for too long, but you want that information, go into the description of this live stream, click on the Linktree link and go and watch Dominion. It will show you everything you need to know as to why we're stood here today trying to connect to you, the number twos. And when I say number twos, what I mean is number ones, you're already here with us, you're vegans, you're defending the animals with us, thank you for being here. Number twos, you're kind, compassionate people, but you're not vegan yet, maybe you just don't know. Number threes are anti-vegans, they don't care about animals. Don't be a number three.
Oh, some more support. Someone just said cows are here to produce milk, silly.
No, they're not. Cows are not here to produce milk. No more are one set of people here to be slaves to another. They're here having a subjective experience of their own life. They are forced into existence. The animals behind us right now are forced into existence to be commodified and exploited for a product. They're having a subjective experience of their own life. They're not here to be used and exploited. They should be living their own life free from harm, the same as you'd expect to live yours in the same way.
That's like saying, oh, your mum was only born to produce milk for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, are you joking? Like, no, you were born and your mum made milk for you. Just like in the dairy industry, they're forcibly impregnated, these cows. Let me explain the dairy industry in a moment. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. Please like, comment and share and subscribe. I'm not here to hate on you guys in the live stream, okay? But I am here to fight against the animal exploitation industries and defend the animals. So in the dairy industry, many people don't know this. Cows are forcibly impregnated. When a cow reaches sexually maturity, reaches the age where she's sexually mature, the farmer makes her pregnant. He forces pregnancy on her. He puts his arm inside of her, injects her with bull semen while she is stuck in something called a cattle crush. That's a contraption where she can't move. So he has full access to her backside, but she can't get out. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live and please subscribe, like, comment, share. What happens next is that she then carries her baby for 9 months in her tummy, just like your mum did for you. When she gives birth to her baby in the middle of the night on a cold concrete floor on her own, her baby is born. If her baby is born a male, he is taken away from her. He's kidnapped from her and sentenced to a slaughterhouse to be stabbed in the throat, to be killed. 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, please subscribe. That lady was like hanging out of her window saying, thank you guys, you're amazing for what you're doing. So kind and support. If only everybody was like this, then the animals would have liberation tomorrow. After she produces a boy. Boys don't produce milk, so they're sentenced to a slaughterhouse. If she gives birth to a female, she is taken away from the mother, separated in an isolation hutch away from the mum, where they cry for one another for weeks. That must be such trauma. If anyone on here is a parent, imagine your baby being kidnapped from you and you cannot get to them. You cannot get to them. She then is intensively milked, and then when her milk production slows down, I'll continue the story in a second. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live and please subscribe. When her milk production slows down, she is then forcibly impregnated again and has that cycle happen to her again, okay? Then when her baby reaches sexual maturity, she then gets that same process happen to her over and over around 4 times until she can no longer stand up or produce any more babies, or her milk production isn't high enough. She then is sentenced to a slaughterhouse around 4 years old. Cows should live 27 years. They are infants going in here. Infants, grieving individuals who have lost their babies over and over and over. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live and please subscribe.
I didn't catch the numbers, but it was Peter something has just gone vegan.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Peter, for having a heart. Thank you so much for doing the right thing. The world is evil, right? And especially towards the animals. Be the light in the world. Treat others the way you would like to be treated. I would not want to have pregnancy forced upon me. I would not want my baby kidnapped from me, and I would definitely would not want a knife in my throat because someone wants to drink my breast milk. Shame on our species. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live and please subscribe.
Loads of twos.
Amazing. Thank you to all the twos for being in here. Thank you for having an open heart. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. It breaks my heart. I've just witnessed this massive truck, this massive blue truck come in here with loads of cows in from the dairy industry who have been crying on that truck, who have been crying as they've been forced into a lairage. If you don't know what a lairage is, I'll explain to you. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and please subscribe. A lairage is somewhere where the animals are held. I call it a dungeon because it's like concrete bars and everything. The animals are held in this dungeon. When the kill floor is ready, they will force these animals into what's called a knockbox. They'll bolt gun them in the head, they'll drop to the floor. The animals still feel everything. The bolt gun is for the humans because animals are extremely strong, and if you come with a knife at somebody, they'll try and fight. So it's for the safety of the humans. They then slit the animal's throat, they hang them up by their leg, they bleed out, and they start dismembering them and cutting their skin off their body. But a lot of the time they're still alive at this point. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, please subscribe. Did you know 20% of cows sent to slaughter are pregnant? Did you know that? The way they cut out the babies from their stomach is whilst the mother is hanging up, they cut into her stomach, they rip her baby from her stomach, they cut the sack of where the baby is in, they let them suffocate to death on the floor.
There's a lot of people trying to use compassionate religion as an excuse to be violent towards animals. What do you say about that?
Never use religion as a crowbar for violence. Shameful for anybody doing that. Religion is one of the worst things for wars, for violence towards animals. You really using a God that you're telling me is compassionate and telling me that, oh, he said it's okay to stab this lamb, to stab this baby pig, to blend up male chicks. Because when people talk of religion and try and defend the exploitation of animals, I think you're confused. I think you're following the devil. No nice person would do that. And in fact, if you actually believe your God would do that, why the hell are you following a God that is so violent and evil towards animals? How could you? I wouldn't do that. I'd call him a psychopath if I saw him here. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, please subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. Behind me there are cows that have been taken off this truck into a lairage where they're going to be killed, they're going to be stabbed in the throat, their blood is going to be spilt before the sun sets today because of dairy. Because of dairy. Because people are not vegan.
What about people who say, I look for the RSPCA logo?
It's a load of rubbish. This is the thing.
What about organic and free range as well?
Organic, free range RSPCA are like a catch for people who are compassionate towards animals, but they don't understand the industry. They know something bad happens, so they're like, oh, we'll put an RSPCA assured logo on. So then people who start to question it stop at RSPCA or free range or organic. Those words are just words. They're marketing. Nothing happens more for the animals. They're still sent to gas chambers that the RSPCA is sure. They're still blended up in macerators. They're still sent to slaughterhouses to be killed. Organic, free range doesn't mean what you think it means. It means zero to the animal. It's just mugging you off basically and making you pay more for something that's violent. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live and please subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. Go to the link in our description, the 3 dots in the right hand corner of this live. Go and watch something called Dominion. See for yourself. We are not here to hate on you guys. We're here purely to defend the animals. You guys have been lied to. That's not your fault. In fact, we were in London the other day with a massive tanker, a gas tanker, asking the public, do they know how pigs are killed in the UK? Only 12% of people knew. 12% of people knew. There's 90 billion animals being killed every single year all around us, and only 12% of our population even know what's going on. If that, 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan.
I want to say a quick thank you to Huria, Vegan Always, and David's also in the chat, defending the animals with us as well as those other vegans in here too.
Thank you guys for being in here. Please, if you're a number 2 or you're someone who has questions, write your question in the chat and those activists will help answer. David used to work in this industry. He's seen more things than you would ever imagine. Guys, 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this screen. Please like, comment, subscribe. Look, the truck that you're seeing there had cows, and we filmed those cows going inside this evil place today. Dairy cows from the dairy industry who had babies taken away from them, forced pregnant, and now sentenced to a slaughterhouse to be stabbed in the throat. Stabbed in the throat. I remember David saying that he witnessed a cow who was screaming, who was conscious as they were ripping her skin off her face and cutting a baby out of her stomach. They do not care about animals. This is a monstrous, evil industry. Like Steve, when he spoke to that farmer earlier, oh no, I don't care, saw we had a camera and then was like, oh no, I do care. You're like, you don't, you just send them to a slaughterhouse, you absolute freak. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live, please comment, please subscribe, please ask questions, go to the link in the description and watch Dominion on YouTube, see the reality for yourself. I have been inside farms, I've investigated small holding, big farms. They're all the same, they're all evil, they're the worst things ever. It keeps me up at night every single day, just witnessing what I have seen, let alone being in their position. I'm just gonna switch back in with Steve.
Yeah, well said, well said. Guys, I want to make a point of just saying as well that for some reason we're indoctrinated to not only believe that this is necessary and humane, we're also indoctrinated to believe that animal farmers are some kind of bedrock backbone of society, and without animal farmers the civilization world would collapse. It's absolutely such a load of BS. Let me tell you right now, animal farmers and slaughterhouses are businesses. They make money, they make profit. Now, if you have a business, what do you do to make money in that business? You market that business to who? The consumer, that's right, the general public. What's the best way of indoctrinating the public to believe that your product, quote unquote product, is the best product out there? You say we have the best standards. You say that it's necessary. You say that it's humane. You say that you need this. This product that we're selling, you need it for your health. You need it for you to be optimal. And don't worry, everything's humane, everything's okay, don't think about it. What we'll do, we'll catch everybody young and we'll make these children's books about farmers. So children start to view farmers as someone who cares about animals. Let's start the indoctrination there. Old MacDonald had a farm. Let's get children's books with the chickens on the farm, etc., etc. Now, as we get older, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll start to tell them, drink calcium for your bones. You want to be big and strong. You want to grow up big and strong like granddad or like dad. Drink your calcium, eat your eggs, right? So now, not only do I believe that it's all okay, because when I was a kid, all the books made farmers look out to be great, I now starting to realize that I have to for my health. Oh, here comes the second lie. Humane and ethical, necessary. By the time you hit a teenager, the indoctrination is so solidly impacted in your brain that you never critically think about it until an animal rights activist comes up and says, hey, guess what? That's a load of nonsense. Here's the truth. Click on the link in the description. Go and watch Dominion to see the reality. Go to Jerry Carlstrom's website. Go and see his content for the reality. Go and look at Animal Ways investigations. Go and look at their investigations for the reality. Go and see the actual truth. 1 in the chat if you're vegan and you've already done that. 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're a kind person, wondering why we're here today talking about animal rights outside of a slaughterhouse. And 3 in the chat if you don't care about animals, double tap the stream. Please like, share, subscribe.
Someone said they have a really good long life before they go to a slaughterhouse.
Doesn't matter. Absolutely irrelevant. We're not here for welfare issues. We're not asking for bigger cages, greener grass, sharper knives, or more concentrated gas. We're here saying that animals should have a right to their bodily autonomy in their life. They should just be left the fuck alone. Why do we think that we can commodify them and use them? Why do we think that giving them a long, happy life suddenly makes what happens in the building behind me okay?
Don't you think it's weird how people actually think these animals have a long, happy life? How weird is that people actually think that?
It's another form of indoctrination. Listen, you've got animal oppression, you've then got vegetarian, you've then got pescatarian, and then you've in between got all these grey areas of people believing that animals have a good long life. Best of the British standard, fact, British farming is layers of indoctrination, which is another tactic you employ when you run a business. You market to sell your number one product. If you don't sell your number one product, how many other ways can we have safety nets in to make sure that we catch the consumer at some point to make some money off of them? Why? Because it's a business. Wake up, because you are probably a kind person and you're being made to pay for some of the most horrific violence that you can even comprehend to see with your own eyes. This is why we're here today live streaming. Why, with an industry that is priding themselves on transparency, humane, ethical, and the best standard and all the other BS, why when we turn up a camera do they run and hide? Why does no slaughterhouse invite an activist in? Why does no one come out and say, yeah, completely transparent, guys? Bring a camera, you'll be doing us a PR favour if you give everyone a tour. Show the world how good it is in here.
Someone's saying, never going to stop eating meat, it needs to be sourced ethically. Being vegan will kill me. Meat helps with my medical condition. I need the nutrients and not stop it. It needs ethical sourcing though.
That person should get an award for saying something wrong in every single line of that sentence.
Yeah.
There's so much there that's wrong. you're too close-minded. All I can say to you is go and watch Dominion on YouTube. Until then, you're a lost cause.
What about nutrients though? Where do we get all our nutrients from?
Yeah, nutrients come from plants. You need nutrients, but you get to select the ingredients. And when you can select ingredients that didn't scream for their life inside of a slaughterhouse, why are we choosing any other ingredients? One in the chat if you're vegan, two in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations and wondering why two vegans are outside of the slaughterhouse here live, bringing you the truth. And three in the chat if you don't care about animals, double tap the stream, like, share, subscribe. Please let us know where you're from. Green hearts in the chat for the animals. Now, one of the things that we often say in these live streams, and it's ringing true today, is when we were stood here a minute ago, the bellows of mercy coming from them trucks was so loud.
Yeah.
And guess what we can hear now? Silence. Absolute silence. And the silence is deafening because you know that them animals are gone. You know that they've been killed. The animals that you saw in the live stream today, go back if you didn't see them because we got them on the slow-mo and Mel shows you in the live stream. Go back and see them.
What's an ethical way to kill animals?
There is no ethical way to kill animals. If ever you've got a question about if it's ethical to do it to an animal, replace the animals with you and ask yourself the same question. Is it ethical to force pregnancy on you and take your children? No. Is it ethical to put you in a box, give you a number and shackle you to the floor? No. Is it ethical to steal your body parts? No. Is it ethical to put people on your back and run you around until you collapse while people bet on you to see if you're the fastest? No. Is it ethical to put things in your eyes? Is it ethical to make you drink things to see if you die?
Yeah.
No. Just replace the animals with humans, ask yourself the same question, and it's really quick and easy to come to the conclusion that animals should have a right to protecting their bodily autonomy and a right protecting their life. We should have animal rights. They should not be commodified, forced into existence and executed for optional products, animal testing, for fashion, for anything.
Someone just said I'm vegetarian, so I'm pleased I don't pay for this.
You do pay for this. This is the reality of what we're here to tell you today. Now, you may be vegetarian for ethical reasons. Most vegetarians are for ethical reasons. And this is exactly what I was talking about a minute ago. It's the second capture from the industry. You've woken up to eating animals' bodies, but all of a sudden they say, oh, I tell you what, if we tell them that eggs and dairy is okay, we still make a little bit of money from them from that situation there. So this is where you get these quote-unquote ethical vegetarians. It's because you don't know about the dairy and the egg industry. Go into this description, click on the Linktree link, go and watch Dominion, go and see what happens in the dairy and the egg industry. Here right now are dairy cows. These dairy cows are here specifically for vegetarians. Was you going to say something?
I was going to say, why are there birds that just hover around the top of these
because
slaughterhouses?
the gut trucks are over there. The animal skins and the gut trucks are just to my right here, to the right of the screen as you go in there. You see them circling around and they pick up all on the entrails and the body parts of the animals. They skin them, they gut them, they chop them out, they put them in plastic packaging, then they send them to supermarkets for people to buy them because they're indoctrinated to believe that it's ethical, it's humane, and it's necessary. We're here today with a camera to prove to you and show you that it's not. One in the chat if you're vegan and you've already removed your personal accountability for that violence. Two in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to why vegans are outside of the slaughterhouse live today. Three in the chat if you don't care about animals. Double tap the stream.
What are they doing up
like,
there?
share and subscribe.
What are they doing on the roof?
It's weird up here today. Now ask yourself why there is no transparency from these industries. Ask yourself that as a consumer. Did you know that there are gas chambers? Did you know that 6-month-old piglets get taken to gas chambers? Did you know that egg-laying hens are different to chickens that are sold for their body parts? Did you know that dairy cows are different to beef cows? Did you know all of this? These are industries standalone. They're no byproducts. They're all independent products, independent co-products, and they're all there because people are indoctrinated to believe that it's ethical, humane, and necessary.
We've got a lot of people asking about protein. Maybe we'll just go over protein because it's actually a really big thing people don't know about.
Okay, protein comes from plants. If you want healthy sources of protein, seitan, tofu, and tempeh. If you just want protein in general, just get the vegan alternative. Get the vegan burgers, the vegan chicken breasts, whatever it may be. You ready to swap in?
Yeah, we can swap.
Oh, did you want? Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Oh, it's so much
More
support.
More support.
So much support. The world's changing. The world's changing. We've been here. We've been outside slaughterhouses every single week for over a year. We have listened to the cries of pigs, of sheep. We've seen chickens quivering in the freezing cold with their massive bodies that they've been genetically modified into. We've seen little baby cows like this big from the dairy industry. Little babies about the size of a Labrador who are sentenced to a slaughterhouse to be killed because they don't produce milk. That's what happens in the dairy industry. Behind me is mothers from the dairy industry in those trucks who have been led into a slaughterhouse to be killed, to be stabbed in the throat. Did you know, when you're eating chickens, they are 42-day-old little babies. They've been genetically modified to grow really large in a short space of time so they can profit from them. It's evil. When we went into that farm, they couldn't even reach the water. They couldn't reach the water because when chickens are pooing wee everywhere on the floor, they move the water up because the floor gets higher and they can't even reach. They literally die from dehydration, they die from maggots, they die from being trampled on. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live and please subscribe.
People are saying you're lying, that animals don't get stabbed to death.
You think I'm lying that animals don't get stabbed to death? Then go and watch Dominion on YouTube and see the truth. Ask yourself, why would I be at a slaughterhouse if I'm here to lie? Why would I break my heart every day trying to fight for the animals if it was all just a lie? I wish it was a lie. I wish animals weren't being oppressed. I wish they weren't being stabbed in the throat, having pregnancy forced upon them, being genetically modified, being tested on. I wish animals weren't having that put upon them, because then the world would be so much nicer, wouldn't it? I wouldn't have to stand at a slaughterhouse. I wouldn't have to go and investigate farms. We wouldn't have to go to these testing facilities where they test on beagle puppies. Here in the UK is what they do that. Did you see the Ridgeland Farm rescue of those beagle puppies in America? Go and have a look. The Ridgeland Farm rescue, they got all those puppies out from those brave activists going in there. But there's still MBR who test on animals. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream and please subscribe. If I was here for attention or something else, I'd be doing something else if it was for myself. I hate being here. I hate going to those farms. But the animals don't want to be the victims. They don't want to be in those farms. They don't want to be in slaughterhouses. They don't want to be used, commodified, ridden on. They literally are dying all over the world. 90 billion land animals, 3 trillion animals, including marine life. Our species is killing that many sentient beings. I think it's more because a lot of them don't even go on the record. They have dead bins in farms. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, please subscribe. I've witnessed here, I've seen the hides of the cows, the skins of the cows with blood all over them. I've then gone into a shop and I've seen the cow's skins in there. And I'm like, what the hell? What the actual hell? And then the people were even touching it and I was like, oh my God, if you knew who that came from, you would be up in arms. If you saw inside a slaughterhouse, it would break your heart. You would change, live vegan and defend the animals and never pay for this.
Liam's just gone vegan.
Liam, thank you so much for having a heart and going vegan for the animals. They need the strongest people defending them. It's not an easy task to do. It's heartbreaking, but the animals need you so much. So thank you for every single vegan in this live chat. Thank you for every number 2 who is a pre-vegan. You're just good people who don't know the truth yet. That's why you're a number 2. Number 3s, you're too far gone. Number 3s are the ones having tantrums. They're the ones throwing their toys out their pram. They're the ones thinking breast milk intended for a baby cow is for them. They're the ones who stab animals. They're the ones who farm animals. They should be put in prison for what they do. Animal farmers need to go extinct. They should not be here. The animal farming shouldn't exist. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live and please subscribe. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. We got security here as well. They take this gate off an automatic system because the automatic system is slower. So when the trucks come in, we have a moment with the animals. But when we're here, they put people on the gate. They take it off the automated system and then they run it themselves because that's faster. They don't even want you to see the face of the animals going inside. Why? Why? Ask yourself why.
What happens? Oh, hang on, truck coming out.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shameful! How could you? How could you? Shame on you! How could you do that? What kind of person can send sentient beings in to be stabbed in the throat? How dare you? Shameful person. You're not human if you can do this. Disgusting, evil people. Disgusting. I say these people should be put in prison for the rest of their lives for what they do to animals. Look, I'm about to show you some more animals coming in here right now. Look, one in, one out.
Oh my God. Oh gosh, you can see the slats really clear. Right at the front, right at the front. Oh, look at her.
You've got victims on your truck. Please stop it. Will you give us a moment to film the animals? Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Whoa. Oh my God, watch your back, watch your back, watch your back. I'm so sorry, babies.
Sorry. I love you and I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. What did he say? What was he saying?
He was saying, I was nice to you last time. I was nice to you last time. I was like, you still have victims on your truck. Be nice to the animals. Stop sending them in here. Them looking out. Angel faces looking out. Angels. They're killing angels in here. You saw their little faces looking out. What the hell have they done wrong, those animals? What have they done wrong? Nothing. They're like children. They need protecting. They have done nothing wrong. And they're sentenced to death. Their pregnancy forced upon them, mutilated and killed.
They're hiding. They're hiding around here.
That the way we treat animals, you think they're murderers or something, but no, humans are the ones killing them. Humans are the flipping killers. How can we do this? Did you look into the eyes of them animals, them angel-like beings? How can anybody do this for a flipping sandwich, for breast milk, for a flipping cup of tea? Live vegan. There's so many different things you can get. Don't harm them. Don't harm them. Literally, vegan burgers taste the same. Vegan ice cream tastes the same. Plant-based milk, you're like 30 plant-based milks. Why are we still killing animals? Why is this still happening? 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the like and subscribe, hiding around the corner like cowards.
Yeah, they're hiding because they know that truck's fairly open. So they head around that corner so that they keep the animals out of sight.
Ask yourself why. Ask yourself, why would they hide the animals from you? Because when people see, it opens their heart, it makes them connect to the eyes of the victim. If you are not vegan, you pay for this, and you have the opportunity to change today. Today. Once you know better, you do better. It's no baby steps, it's no small steps, there's no cutting down. You stop it. When you see something bad happening, you stop it. You don't just partake in it less. You remove yourself from the evil industry that has blinded you to the violence upon animals, to the commodification, the use. Every single cow you just saw go in there is about to be stabbed in the throat. They're no different to your children, your dogs, your family, and yourself. In fact, they're better. They're innocent. Humans are corrupt. We should save the animals need protecting before humans. Live vegan, then you can fight for humans. I'm sick of people putting humans above everything else. Who the hell do we think we are? Why do humans think we're so much better than everybody else? We're the scum of this earth. We're the parasites of this earth. Live vegan and don't be one of those parasites. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live and please subscribe. This is a slaughterhouse you just witnessed. Cows going into this evil place. Cows going in who look like angels. Let me show you on this.
Yeah, bring it over this. I want to see what they're going to do. Yeah, let me know when you're ready. I'm keeping this here because I think that they're going to back up in a minute. They've kept it around the corner because they know that the slats are open on that truck.
Yep.
And you can see the animals very clearly.
Look.
Okay, keep yours dead still. These animals have just gone inside here. These are the animals on the truck. They're going to back this truck up in a second. Bless them. They've committed no crimes. They've done nothing wrong. Hearts in the chat for these animals. It's still incomprehensible that these animals will be killed today.
I can't believe this even happens. I can't believe this even happens.
It is shocking to stand here thinking that these animals are being stabbed to death 50 metres away
Let me go back.
from where we stand.
Let me show you the very first moment I got the camera in. Look at them. What did
Bless
they do?
them.
They're like little kids. They don't understand what's happening. They don't know what they did wrong to deserve this.
Committed no crimes, done nothing wrong. Don't be the reason that they go in here. The only way that this stops is by you being vegan.
How dare our species do this? I hate our species so much.
Thanks, David. David's saying that the audio video sync is a bit off. It's clear, but it's just not matching.
Can't actually believe this is happening. I can't believe I'm actually at a slaughterhouse still, all the time, coming to slaughterhouses, trying to show people. They're backing up now. Should we get on there and let's get that and show people them?
Go on. Pop it just in the front, yeah.
What you're witnessing here now is that truck full of those poor cows. It's their last moment. Look at the propaganda on the side. It's their last moments in this world. I hate that I'm here. I hate that I'm here and I can't save those individuals right now. I hate that I can't get them off that truck and save them. They need saving now. Today. Please, just go vegan. Go vegan. Stop this evil. If that was you on that truck, you would want this to stop. Why are you putting animals in this position? You have a choice not to. Why are you choosing evil and cruelty and violence over kindness? Just live vegan. Normal people are vegan. Kids are born vegan until the world conditions them and indoctrinates them. No human with a sound mind could stab animals in the throat. Nobody. Nobody. And if you can stab animals in the throat, then you'd be in prison for life. These people, don't forget, who drive these animals in, who stab them in the throat, are conditioned to a level of violence no one else in the world is conditioned to. They then walk amongst your children. They might have families that your child and their child goes to the same school, but their dad stabs individuals every day. What do you think the child's gonna do? Indoctrinated by the dad. The family will stab animals every day. Why do you think farmers have children? To indoctrinate them, to lie to them, to stab animals. It's an evil thing that's happening. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live, please subscribe. These animals need you so much. They need you defending them with everything that you have as a matter of urgency. This isn't just, oh, I'm just gonna think about it. This is right now. They need you right now. Live vegan. Number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Number 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. And number 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. There's animals here about to be stabbed in the throat. What's gonna happen is they're taken off this truck, put into a lairage, a dungeon where they cannot escape. They'll hear the others crying out, they'll hear the guns, they'll hear the knives, they'll hear the screams. Cows can smell up to 5 miles away. I think that's worth a cup of tea with breast milk in that wasn't even from your mum. Do you think that's worth murder? Killing beautiful animals. This slaughterhouse kills dairy cows from the dairy industry. Every time you purchase cow's milk, they kill cows for the dairy industry. They make them pregnant. They have forcibly make them pregnant. They take their baby away from them. They steal their baby, they kill their baby, and then they steal their breast milk intended for their baby. If you don't think you're brainwashed, you are not a baby cow. Why are you drinking cow's milk? Because the industry has indoctrinated you and lied to you to make you think you need to. In fact, most people don't even know that cows need to have a baby to produce milk. I was one of them. I used to drink cow's milk. I wasn't always vegan, but I did say I loved animals. The moment I saw inside of one of these places, I saw inside a slaughterhouse, I went vegan on the spot with my husband Steve here. We went vegan on the spot because that's the right thing to do. It wasn't a question. It wasn't like, oh no, I'm gonna miss my cow's milk or my cheese. It was like, I am never paying for that again. I didn't even know you could be healthy. I was prepared to die younger. I didn't care because I morally could never put someone in a position where they're gonna be stabbed in the throat. I morally couldn't put someone in a position where they're gonna be shaking on the floor of a slaughterhouse like this, crying out. They're crying out.
They're looking right at us. They know we're here. I'm so sorry, Angel.
They're crying out for help. Please
I'm sorry.
help them.
We just need people to listen. I can't help you. I wish I could. I wish I could take you away from this place. I wish I could give you sanctuary. I wish I could give you the freedom you deserve. You do not deserve what's happened to you. I won't forget you. I promise to fight for you forever. I promise you, I'll make sure the world knows what happened to you. It means nothing to you, I know. I'll never stop. I promise you, I'll never stop. You can see a little white angelic face. A last look on this world. Don't be the reason these animals go inside these places. Be vegan, it's as easy as that. Go to the description, click on the link. Go and watch Dominion. Go and sign up to the vegan page on Animal Aid.
In this slaughterhouse.
Go sign up to John the Bodybuilding Vegans. Free vegan, how to go vegan guides. Don't be the reason that any more animals suffer in these places. Any more animals are executed. If this trailer here was full of humans, how many of you would be trolling comments then? What's the moral difference? I can't believe that this is happening and I'm 50 meters away from it. I can't believe that I can't stop it. I can't believe the only way for this to stop is for good people to stop paying for it and wake up. I'm so sorry. What can happen sometimes with dairy cows on these trucks?
Sometimes that cows in the dairy industry, they're so depleted of nutrients and they've had everything sucked out of them. So much trauma of these dear mothers from the dairy industry. They'll often have downed cows. That means an individual cannot stand up any longer. A lot of the time they put chains around the feet of the animals so they don't splay their legs. And sometimes they might kill them on the trucks if they cannot stand up.
They've gone.
This is a slave trade, in my opinion. This is slavery, in my opinion. They come from concentration camps, in my opinion. Please end this. Live vegan. Please watch Dominion on YouTube and see the truth. Thank you for being on this live, and we'll see you on the next live stream.